Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm drawing a curled up cat, one of my favorite cozy poses. I'll be using a simple set of tools. I've got a regular pencil for the sketch. I'm using a BIC Mechanical Pencil, I love them. I'll be using Copic fine liners for the outlines, and I have Prismacolor pencils for their rich color. I love this combination because it gets me the clean structure and soft textures, which is perfect for cat fur. And then doing kind of a cartoony cat fur. Before I start, I just want to say that I really enjoy drawing animals in relaxed poses like this. There's something calming about watching them sleep, and I try to bring that same calm energy to my drawings. Starting off really lightly with the pencil, I like to block in the main shapes first. Here you can see I'm sketching basically a circle for the body. I'm putting a little bit of jagged edges in for the fur as I go. I'm putting in the head, but I feel like the head was too small, so I'm gonna have to redraw the head. I think I redrew it like twice. I'm mostly trying to get the proportions right at this point, so I'm looking at my reference a lot. When a cat's curled up, their body forms almost a perfect circle, so I'm paying attention to that overall flow. I'll add some guiding lines for the tail and the ears. I'm working on the foot here. I feel like everything's a little too far in the upper left, and I need to enlarge the leg a little bit, enlarge the head a little bit. So I'm about to go and do that in a moment. At this stage, I keep my pencil strokes very loose, very light. If I press too hard, it's harder to erase and adjust. I always remind myself that sketching is just planning, not perfection. And this is the part where you can experiment and make mistakes freely. I also feel that when you're planning to color with colored pencil, especially, if you have hard indentations in the paper, even if you are able to completely erase the pencil that you had drawn with, you won't be able to color into that groove that you've made in the paper, and you'll leave like a white line when you go over it with the colored pencil, and that can be really off-putting. Putting in a little bit of fur here. I just kind of make little zigzags, little jagged edges. I didn't like that zigzag, so I made another one. I don't feel like it looks that different, honestly. I'm gonna let some music play while I finish the sketches, and then I'll come back in and narrate some more. At this point, I'm checking the size of the head. In my reference, the head is like 1/3 of the whole body, so I'm checking that it's about 1/3 of the whole body. I think I got it pretty close now. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in the face again. At this point, I'm happy with the sketch, so I'm gonna go in with my fine liner. I really like to use fine liners because they give it a really clean, confident look. I start with the outline of the head, and then I move on to the tail and the body, trying to make those little jagged zigzags for the fur line, make it look a little furry. I don't make it perfectly smooth. I break it up with little small flicks to suggest texture. One thing I try to remember when inking animals is that not every line needs to be connected. Sometimes leaving little gaps makes the drawing feel more natural and less rigid. I also add a few suggestive lines where the fur changes direction, which will help later when I add color. Now that I've got the line where I want it, I'm gonna erase all of the graphite. It's really important to make sure that you remove the graphite completely, because if there's some left there, it'll smudge in with the colored pencil. And I'm doing a really light colored cat, so it would look really obviously smudged in. And I just think it looks too messy, so definitely go in and erase all that pencil line. Now it's on to my favorite part, the Prismacolor pencils. I'm starting with a light base layer of using really gentle pressure so that I don't fill the paper's texture too quickly. For this cat, I'm putting in a fire point kind of pattern, which I think is what it's called when they have just like color on the ears and the face and then a little bit on the paws and the tail. Most of this cat is like a creamy color. So I'm adding some color to the tail and a little bit to the foot. I think I need to darken those in a little bit more too. But as I go around, I'm just adding a little bit at a time. I'm going to darken up the ears with another color that's a little bit like a brownish red. And it didn't take much, it was just a little bit. These pencils go a long way when you add just a little pressure. And then I'm using this cream color to do the majority of the fur. And I'm just gonna let music play while I fill in all the fur because it's pretty much just a solid color at this point. So I'm gonna put in a little bit of blue on the collar to make it pop. That was the color it was in the reference and I liked that color, so I just stuck with it. And then we're gonna add a little bit more color to the nose. I'm just using the same colors I'd used for the rest of the face. I'm just darkening them a little bit on the nose. And at this point I've decided to add some shadow because there's a little bit of shadow. In the picture it was actually pretty dark, but I wanted this to be pretty light, so I grabbed a light gray to go in there. Because the fur is really light, I didn't want that stark contrast. I feel like it would have been too dark if I had gone in with marker there. I'm also going to use some of that same gray to make a shadow around the outside of the cat. The cat in the reference was just laying on like a white bed, so there wasn't too much going on in the background, which I liked because I like how it's just like this little cat circle. I think that this illustration would make a really nice sticker, and I'll probably make it into a sticker that I sell at my art markets. Now here I decided I wanted to darken the face a little bit more, give it some more contrast, warm it up. So I'm adding a little bit more of this kind of orangey color to the cheeks and the nose and the foot. And I just wanted to make it a little bit more colorful. This is a very simple, mostly white cat, but I take artistic license to add a little more color there. I'm using the color to add shadow to these fur areas. Now he looks good and furry. I'm going to add a little bit more to the forehead as well. I feel like the forehead was a little darker in the reference. And here's the finished curled up cat. What I enjoyed most about this piece was capturing that cozy, sleepy feeling cats give off, but it's always a little challenge to simplify the detail while still keeping the drawing believable. But that's what makes animal drawing so rewarding. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments what other cats you'd like to see me draw next. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more drawing videos. And if you try drawing a curled up cat for yourself, I'd love to hear how it goes. Until next time, happy drawing!